welcome back to The Real Southern Garden. I'm Sarah, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you how I would start a brand new garden bed, vegetable garden bed or flower bed, either way, in the year 2025. So I have a couple tips or strategies or ideas, whatever you want to call them, that I haven't seen them anywhere else on YouTube. If it had been out, maybe it is out there, but if it was out there, I probably would have known before I did it, and then I wouldn't have made the mistake myself. So I'm going to share that with you. So hopefully when you make your garden beds, you don't run into that. So just stay tuned. But before I get into that, I want to back up just a little bit. We did a video recently about weed barriers, and the one that I use, which is actually painter's paper or contractor's paper. There is a certain brand that I buy. It's a little bit thicker. And there are other things on the market that are called landscape paper, actual paper, just like mine is a paper that I use too. They cost more though because they have the name. And so I just buy painter's paper or contractor's paper. And that is what I use to maintain. I use it singularly. That means I use it by itself in my garden beds that are already created. So I just wanted to reemphasize that. Those are the ones I've had for at least a year, at least a growing season. I've already made them. And then to keep the weeds at bay, I will use that over them with mulch on top. And I will either wait until my perennials that are asleep pop up, which is the best way to do it. Just wait till they pop up. Wait till your peonies pop up. Wait till your bulbs are up. Wait till your whatever it is that you have that's asleep, so you can see where they are, and then put the paper around them, obviously, and then put the mulch on top. If you want to do it before things wake up, you're going to have to know where those perennials are planted so you don't cover them up, because it is a weed barrier. It's going to be a plant barrier too. You don't want to cover up your bulbs or things like that you're waiting for to show up for you in the spring. Now, if you live up north, of course, it takes a little bit longer for things to wake up. Down here in the south, most of my things are already popping up, and I know where they are too. Now, I will wait until the end of it'll probably be April before I do my last bed up here. It's the one that borders my house. It has a ton of daffodils in it, and the previous gardener actually planted those, and I love them, and they're beautiful. They're planted in a row though. However, they're like the border, so that means I get to live with really ugly, dead, dying leaves for 6 weeks or so. And I will usually just hold off on mulching that bed because I want to go ahead and be able to cover the daffodils too, but you got to wait for them to die back, get the energy from the sun that they need so that they'll bloom next year. So that is a scenario where I will wait. I will still get it papered and I will still get it mulched before the hot days of summer. You can bet on that. But I will wait for that one because, like I said, I've got bulbs and things like that, and it's just easier if I wait to do it. So just wanted to put that in there. And now there's one more thing I want to tell you before we get into exactly what we're talking about today. But on my channel, I always bring to you any American-made products that I really love, that I actually wear or use, and I just point them out. I've always been a fan of buying American. It's kind of becoming popular again, which I'm happy to see. But this is one of the long sleeve tunic tops that I wear all the time. I love the colors. There's a bunch of different colors online. They're long in the back and in the front. That's why they're called tunic tops. And you can wear them with, of course, tights like I do and garden boots, or you can wear them with biker shorts or whatever you want. And I wear these a lot when I'm outside. I can run to the nursery and look okay. I can take my kids somewhere. If I'm doing light gardening, you have to understand I do extreme gardening on this property, like crazy stuff, okay, that most home gardeners aren't dealing with. But if I am crawling around in mud or something really extreme, then I'll wear overalls, of course. But these are I'm outside watering or just doing some light planting, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to share them with you. The brand is called Popana, or I don't know how to pronounce it. And I've worn them for years. I wore them before I was pregnant, while I was pregnant, and after. They're just forgiving and they're fantastic. And they're on Amazon and you can't beat it. So they'll be linked in the description also. All right, so to build a brand new garden bed, I'm going to tell you how I did it up there on the hill. And also keep in mind that I always share my ideas of what I think is best. Everyone has we all learn from each other, but some people may have a way that they think is the best way, and that's fine. We just share what we love on YouTube, and hopefully we inspire people and help them. So that's what I do. But when I built this brand new garden bed up here on the top of my hill, the vegetable garden, I'm going to give you examples of an ornamental and a vegetable garden. I am not a patient person. I'm actually fairly patient, but come on. I wanted to plant the very first year, and it's hard Georgia clay. And I had heard a little bit about, of course, you know, through the years, the no-till method, and I hadn't really tried it myself yet. But I knew I really wanted to do it, and I thought it would be a great fit for this property, and boy was it, because I garden on very, very hard Georgia clay. I mean, it's like limestone. It is wild. I remember when I lived in Austin years ago and how some of the ground was limestone. This Georgia clay is it's like trying to get through rock. It's really wild. So I have a tiller, but I don't even think my tiller would have gone through that. And a lot of equipment wouldn't even cut it. I'd have to really get some heavy duty, probably what they make roads with or something, out here to get that tilled up, and then add a bunch of amendments, a bunch of compost, a bunch of just everything to get it good and softened and growable. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go that route. So what I did do, if I am making a new bed, whether it is a vegetable bed or it's going to be an ornamental bed, brand new, that means I'm going over grass and I'm going over weeds and grass and I've never touched it and all of that stuff. I'm going to take a weed eater. I'm going to weed eat that down and get it really low as far as I can. Then I'm going to go over that with real actual cardboard, because you want it thicker. You want to really kill down whatever you're trying to cover up and what you're trying to grow over one day. So I weed eat it down, and I put real legitimate cardboard boxes. You can either get cardboard boxes from Amazon. You could buy them new if you were crazy enough to do it. I have done that a time or two. You could also ask for them from a grocery store. There are also the pallet, they're called cardboard pallets, that are in between the waters that they deliver at grocery stores that don't have any like seams in them. Those are really nice, so you can get your hands on them if you can get enough of them. Most people aren't doing a giant, I did like a 30 by 40 garden bed up there. You might just be doing an 8 by 10 or a 5 by 5 or whatever. You know, you probably don't need as much as I did. But anyway, get your cardboard, lay that out and the dimensions and the size you want. And then I also roll over that, because all the cardboard I had the little holes in it, and I wanted to cover up every nook and cranny that I possibly could, because you want that stuff to die under there. You don't want it all growing and popping up and messing up your garden. So I would go over it with the painter's paper, just one roll, to make it nice and flat for a brand new garden bed. And then I would add my dirt on top, my garden soil. And like I said, I was doing a really big garden up there, so I was trying to really cut cost as much as I could, and I had put some money away on the side to start it, and I knew it would be, you know, it was gonna cost a little bit, of course, that first year. But what I did was I wanted to mix topsoil, so buying topsoil down at the garden center, and I wanted to mix it with garden soil, which is like bagged garden soil, and then topsoil, thinking, okay, I can get a ratio in there and save money, because topsoil is cheaper, obviously, than the bagged garden soil like Stay Green, Miracle Grow. There's a bunch of them. And there's organic ones as well too, if you want absolutely nothing in it but organic. The trick though is, the thing is, in the United States, and probably most countries, they do not regulate topsoil. So that means you can put whatever you want into a bag that says topsoil. And I didn't know that. And I have gardened a long time with my mom and my dad, and my grandma was a gardener. And anyway, myself, I never knew that when you bought topsoil, it could literally be sawdust. I mean, not exactly, but that's what it looked like. So nothing was going to grow in that. It almost was like just looked like pine needles and really fine pine mulch, and I don't know. It was very, very bad. And I bought a lot of, not a lot, but I bought some of that. What you want to do if you're going to buy topsoil and you're going to try to mix it with garden soil or anything like that, is open the bag, or ask the people at the store if you can open the bag and just see what the contents are in that bag, and make sure that it is actual soil and not some weird like mulch or something. Mulch is great, but it's not going to be good for the little roots to try to grab onto and grow. So that's tip number one. If you're going to do something with topsoil and blend it with garden soil, make sure that it's actual dirt. Look at what's in that bag before you bring it home. The second thing is, of course, if you're doing a smaller space, you can just buy the bags that already says garden soil, or maybe you have another setup with a farmer nearby, or you've been composting for a really long time. I don't know, but most people, when they start a brand new garden bed, if you know, they don't have all of those other things to choose from. So what I also did was I priced a bunch of places. I priced all kinds of bulk delivery, thinking I could save money with that. And lo and behold, I couldn't. They were actually more money than going and buying from a big box store. And the big box store that had the best price for me, this was 2 years ago, so check your areas and do your homework, but was Home Depot. And they had free delivery. I think it was free delivery if I bought $45 or more of dirt, and I did. And they brought it out on a semi truck and literally pulled up over here, and they had like a skid steer type thing that they took off of it, and they put all of the dirt in the bags on it, and they drove it up to my garden. And it was glorious and amazing because I didn't have to have a big dirt pile that I had to shovel things into a wheelbarrow and move it around. Even if you have a small property, if you're going to take stuff from your driveway to a bed or whatever with a wheelbarrow, that's a lot of work. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I mean, it is a lot of work. It's hard on your back. It's hard on everything. So for me to have the bags and I can just sling them and throw them where I want, it just works so much better. And it was actually more cost effective for me to do it that way. And I priced a bunch of places. Somebody's gonna tell me, Sarah, you missed out because this is the best. And I'm sure, but I called like 5 different bulk deliveries and also priced all the big box stores, and with delivery, everything, Home Depot was the winner. So there's some more information for you that might help you out. I hope it does. So that is what I did. And I put down about 4 to 5 inches of soil mixture. I did about a 30% mix of topsoil, 30-40%, and the rest was actually bagged garden soil. And then I wanted to plant the first year. A lot of people, they will set up their garden bed and kind of just let it bake for a little while till that cardboard breaks down, then they'll plant. But what I did was I just chose shallow rooted plants, vegetables, like I did butternut squash, I did watermelon the first year, I did okra, I did sweet potatoes, but those were in bags. Butternut squash took off like crazy. I did my cosmos, my zinnias, I did strawberries, sunflowers. It all did just fine. And I planted the seeds, you know, just what the package said, of course, the depth down into the soil, and it had that cardboard underneath. It had about 4 inches of soil, like I said, 4 to 5. And everything did fantastic. So if you aren't patient and you want to plant, of course, the first year before the cardboard actually breaks down, it seems that the seeds have plenty of time to germinate and grow, and they were able to deal with that just 4 to 5 inches of soil. I had a beautiful vegetable garden that year and flower garden, and that is what I did. And dirt is expensive, folks. It really, it can be expensive when you're starting a bed from scratch. Now, to do an ornamental bed. All right, we're just gonna change backgrounds a little bit because I just wanna give you something else to look at for a moment. But if you're gonna do an ornamental bed, what I do is, if you're gonna start from scratch once again, and you don't wanna remove sod, because there is other ways, you know, to do it, you'll hear the term sheet mulching, and that's kind of what people will call it if you're doing an ornamental bed. And once again, there are different ways, but the way I did it, because once again, I'm a little bit impatient and I wanted to go ahead and plant, is you're gonna weed eat it down really low. And then if you have shrubs that you wanna plant, or evergreen shrubs, something that is a little bit hardier and bigger, I recommend that you go ahead and plant those first. And you wanna amend the hole that is gonna grow in appropriately. So hopefully, you know, if you have clay soil or something like that, you're gonna have to amend a pretty good amount of that hole, the growing space where that plant's gonna be. And I'll do a video on that later on, especially for roses. But you wanna make sure it has a really good dirt to grow in, so it has good drainage in there, but amend that hole. And then you can plant your shrub or larger perennial or whatever that is that you wanna put in that bed. And then I would go over with the cardboard, and then I would go over with 1 layer of the painter's paper, and that's to make a brand new bed, like I said. And that just gives it a nice, even, workable space where you can just cover up every seam and then put the, either, you know, do garden soil on top. I would do a couple inches of garden soil. It'd be better if you did like 4 inches of garden soil, honestly. And then go ahead and put mulch over that. If you do the 4 inches of garden soil, you're gonna be able to plant shallow annuals, like say, impatiens or different things like that, pretty easily. So always, you know, you have to keep in mind that when you're doing a weed barrier, whether you're doing something where you're going to use it as a maintenance item, like I'm doing with the painter's paper by itself, and every year I do it in maintenance just to keep the weeds down. With that, if you're gonna do a ton of planting, it's gonna be like Swiss cheese. If you're gonna make a ton of holes in it, you know, right off the bat, then obviously you should just wait till you do your planties and then put that paper down, because you're just going to make a bunch of holes in it and then it's not going to work as well for a weed barrier. So I think you can understand what I'm saying. But for a brand new start for an ornamental bed, if you want shrubs in it or heavier perennials, go ahead and plant those first and mend the holes. Then go over it with a cardboard, go over it with a painter's paper, put you a couple inches of good, I would say 3 to 4 inches is really the best. The more you can do, the better, of garden soil on top, and then cover it with mulch. And that way you'll have enough soil there that you can do some annual type, plants in there that first year right off the bat before that cardboard actually breaks down. So that's how I would do an ornamental bed. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you liked today's video and that it gave you some helpful tips. We would love for you to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, let me know where you garden and what kind of videos you would love to see. I always love to hear from you guys, and I will respond to every one of you. I love talking to you guys and how you garden and all that good stuff. So I'll see you back here next time in the next video right here at the Real Southern Garden. Bye.